Hey, what's going on? You know, we're here in hot Atlanta. I'm Sheila Stafford.
And you know who I am, the big Stafford. Stafford boxing.
The making of champions.
That's no cappuccino. uh, uh. Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you, everybody.
Man,
Hello and welcome to
for
Talk
real.
and Fight
Talk.
on this wonderful day.
Yes, sir.
Christmas is right around the corner.
Baby, you know it's about to be a new year in about a couple of weeks.
I know, time is going by so fast.
But guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to our viewers, we got a special guest, hometown in the ATL. Baby, go ahead and do the honors. Go and bring this Hall of Fame in, man.
Terri Moss. She is the CEO and head trainer at the Buckhead Fight Club and promoter, producer, professional boxing manager, corporate fight night. I'm really interested in that. Head coach at Georgia Tech Boxing WBC TV Network, affiliate WIBA, and also she's a WIBF world champion. She was inducted in 2015 in the International Women Boxing Hall of Fame. And she also holds a Guinness World Record. Can I just take a breath real quick? Because that was a lot that I had to say. She is a wonderful woman. She wears a lot of hats. She's a Renaissance woman. I don't even know how she does all of this. Doesn't even look like she gets tired. She still looks great, young, and refreshed. So everybody, please welcome Terri Moss, the boss.
That's a giant intro.
No. Ooh, you got a lot going on.
For real.
Everybody has to know what it is that you have done and what you are doing. So
for real.
We had to honor you.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. It doesn't happen much in women's boxing, so it's really nice to hear that. So we're just ready to finish a big year. So there've been a lot of shows, a lot of things going on. Looking for next year and trying to decide how I'm going to lay it out.
Got you. Now here on the Stafford Boxer Report, we honor everyone, but we really honor women because we know that we wear a lot of hats and we do so much more, and sometimes we may not feel appreciated. So that's why we're giving you your flowers and your crown in front of the whole world, because you have given a lot of women opportunities in the boxing industry. And I just believe in life, period. So we're going to talk about who is Terri Moss, the boss.
Well, I'm a worker, that's for sure. So, like I said, I spend my whole existence planning out my next step in boxing, and I have done a lot of things, but I've experienced a lot of things. So I'm pretty grateful for a woman that got into the sport and kind of late. I've done more than most of the people that I know in the whole sport. So it's been quite a challenge, but also a pretty fun ride. So if I left it tomorrow, I haven't. Well, I still have a few more goals, but if I left it tomorrow, I'd feel pretty fulfilled about what I've done. But I still want to have that world champion, that world recognized champion. I want to be, eventually recognized as a trainer. That takes a lot for a female to get in that position. So I'm working on that, and then bigger shows, that kind of thing. I do a lot of promotions. Kind of started a consulting job. Helping new promoters get their shows off the ground. It's a challenge, but trying to get more people involved in the sport. So, and I definitely want to get that world champion of my own, though.
And it's coming too. Now, you are also the first female cutman as well. Can you tell people, our viewers that don't know, what is that? What did you do?
Well, I don't know that I was the first, but I was the first one that I knew of. So, and I talked to some other people about it, commentators and stuff. They didn't know a lot of them. I mean, I started in boxing working corners before I even was a fighter. So that's when if the fighter gets cut, cut man does a few different jobs, wrap hands a lot of times, which I'm really good at that. So they wrap hands. They'll close a cut, fix broken noses, stuff like that. So the good thing is I learned that a long time ago. I don't really have to hire one for my fighters, though. I realized when I had one that was got cut pretty bad in a 10-round fight that it's probably better to hire somebody because 2 jobs in the corner is too much. So when you really want to focus on your own fighter, you don't want to have to focus on that cut. But it's not really not complicated to teach someone that job. So, but I did do that for quite a while.
Well, Terry, we want to say thank you so much for being on the Stafford Boxing Report. As you know, the Stafford Boxing Report is a platform that caters towards women who are in the boxing industry as boxers as well as business women. So you definitely fit the ideal person that we admire and appreciate coming on the show. And you mentioned earlier that you started in the boxing industry at a later age, and you've been able to accomplish a lot of personal as well as business goals. Could you share with us, like, how old were you when you first got started in the boxing industry as being a, what is it called, Cutter?
She was a cornerman. She was working in the corner and a cut man.
Yeah, cut man. My bad.
I think you did that first, right?
I
Before
did,
you
yeah.
actually started
Mhm.
fighting boxing.
Right. Yeah. Long story. Make it short here. I was I got into boxing around 32 years old, something like that. And so, but I really didn't know that women could do boxing. So a friend of mine, she was going through a divorce and had seen that J-Lo movie Enough.
Oh
If you guys,
yeah.
she had a boyfriend or whatever, and she winds up taking boxing lessons to beat him up or whatever. Anyway, she'd seen that movie and she was like, "I want to learn how to box." And I was always a fitness person, so I did a lot of different kind of things. I was actually training for my first half triathlon, so I'd gotten into that a little bit. Done a lot of weightlifting from the time I was. I tell people when Olivia Newton-John was getting physical, so was I. It was that long ago. I remember the Richard Simmons and all that stuff.
Yes.
So when health clubs were brand new, I was going to those, trying to get some workout in. So anyway, I was headed to an aerobics class, and she wanted to stop in and meet a boxing trainer. I thought she was nuts. We did a workout that day, and a month later I was still there, and she was gone. 3 months later I was buried in the business. So it just didn't take much for me. I just fell in love with the sport, and because of my age, my trainer was telling me, you're too old to box. I had some medical problems too. So, he just told me I couldn't. So he taught me, you can work corners, you can do these things. And that's why I learned that first. But then, I just was really determined. I wanted to box. So I, took care of some health issues. I stuck my, my toe in the water, and next thing you know, I was buried. So I learned the hard way, everything. So, but the good thing about that is you learn it from the grassroots up, where a lot of people, come in, they might start, even promoters, some promoters come in, maybe they have some money and they want to put something out there, but they just really don't learn the grassroots, but I've learned all that on every aspect I've done in boxing. It's all been, kind of a homemade version of what needed to be done from the very beginning, which made me learn step by step, to where I want to go. So, but definitely not afraid to do whatever. I'm gonna if I'm gonna keep promoting shows. Once I get a few State Farm arena shows under my belt, then I can be satisfied. Once I get a world champion, then I'll be satisfied as a trainer. And I think those are my only two left that I have that I really want to do. So other than that, I've done just about everything I can think that I wanted to do.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you, being a promoter is a very big responsibility. We
Yes.
have talked about promoters and a little bit about what goes into it, but can you tell our viewers what is the sole responsibility that the promoter has for their boxer?
I mean, there's a lot involved with that. One of the main things is just the relationship between the boxer and the promoter. That's the hardest part to maintain. Boxing, especially in the professional ranks, it's a hard business. And myself, and I have one matchmaker that is my primary matchmaker that I work with. We were fighters. We both did our thing. So we really consider ourselves to be the good guys in boxing. Most of those relationships are not very, very good between promoters and fighters. They need to move the fighters, but then it's neither one of them trust each other, neither one are loyal. So it's quite a different kind of business. You got to, trying to learn to have that relationship, a good relationship, and keep things upfront and honest are the hardest parts. I mean, not for me because that's what I want to do, but just getting, the trust has to be there on both sides of the fence, and it's moves to move somebody safely and profitably for everybody is quite a challenge. So I mean, everybody's in there because they want to make a statement or make money or build something. So getting every side of the fence to understand that we're in this together and let's all succeed rather than usually what it turns out is one side succeeds and the other doesn't, or vice versa. It's just you hear over and over the stories about the wars between the promoters and the fighters, and everybody wants to be self-managed now or self-promoted, but it takes a lot to do that. So we all need each other. So it's finding that perfect balance, and to still have good relationships in the field. That's the hardest part. But I mean, I've managed to do that. I feel like you can't please everyone, but for the most part, I think I've managed to keep a good relationship with the fighters as a promoter, and as a trainer and a manager, to keep a good relationship with the promoters. So the good thing is I get to experience both sides of the fence, where most people don't. It's one or the other. So that's probably the most important thing.
Okay, so I know with the promotion part, you said there's a lot going on with that. Okay, so now you're a manager.
Mhm.
Now would the manager, of course, have, I would say, a lesser of a responsibility than the promoter?
No, no, not at all. So it's against the law to manage and promote a fighter. So if I manage somebody, I'm not promoting them. If I promote them, I don't manage them. So that's how you have to handle that. Some fighters, what I mean, I'm a certain level of promoter. I'm not Bob Arum. So if someone outgrows, my ability to promote them, then that's when it would be good to manage them to make sure that whichever promoter we put them with would, be a safe and profitable and still, a building experience for the fighter. If that's a fighter I'm trying to protect or whatever, it's a balancing act on both sides of the fence. But managers, they're equally invested. I mean, sometimes they're the ones putting out all the money for the fighter. It just depends on, what the situation is. It can be, it can be pretty interesting that balance of power. It's there's three parts to a team: a manager, promoter, and a boxer. But some fighters just have promoters, some just have managers. It just kind of depends on what the situation is, who the fighter is, and what their ability is, and where they're going to cap off. Fighters have different levels of ability, so you have to be able to discern which where you're going to go and where it's going to stop, and what the next level is and how far you can go. It's an interesting you got to be really real about what to expect, what can be expected.
Well, Terry, I was just sitting here just thinking, and I was just listening to some of the things that you were saying. And one of the things that you said was one of your goals was about State Farm Arena. And I think that already you have done amazing work in the boxing industry, particularly bringing uh, uh, a bigger spotlight to the state of Georgia, the city of Atlanta. The name Buckhead is a very popular name in the city of Atlanta. So I can see that you definitely have a good marketing mind as well as a business mind in terms of naming your business. The part that I want to say that I definitely see you being in State Farm Arena promoting and hosting a fight. We just want to be a part of. We just want to have like the Stafford boxing logo just somewhere on that ring so that people can see. So today is like the beginning of a friendship, of a business. The other thing that I really do appreciate what you said was about you being a woman of character in terms of business. The boxing industry is cutthroat. Everybody, may say things, but then they turn, you know what I mean? And from my gaze on you, I just look at you as like from that old school, that old clock where a handshake, your word is your bond. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yes, yes, in today's time, we have to use contract because people character doesn't, hold up to their word. They break their word. So, but for you, you must be doing something right to be able to elevate the boxing scene in Atlanta. So I wanted you to talk about December the 9th. And I wanted you to talk about, how significant that was, not only to your business, but also in terms of you elevating the sport of boxing in this particular market in Georgia.
Right. So that show was a pro boxing show at Center Stage. It was just this past Friday. So with that particular show, that was one of my consulting clients. So it's a gentleman that wanted to do promotions. He's been a little bit involved in the sport, but not a whole lot. Very big fan. He wanted to take a shot at it, and so Center Stage is not the place that a brand new promoter should really kick their shows off. To get your feet wet a little bit before you jump in to that level of a show. But that he was willing to do that, and so we went through the show. It's not perfect, of course, his first experience, but there's no doubt that the show was a great show. When I consult clients, I make sure that they have certain things that they have to agree to as far as the production of the event, the vendors, the matchmaking process. Those kind of things are essential and crucial to having a good show. The thing that's the most important part that the promoters learn at that point is how to do the marketing and those kind of things. That's business sense that they kind of have to bring with them, and then to see if they can pull off the sales. That's a lot of promoters. That's one thing about State Farm Arena. You don't really have to promote that. That venue will promote itself. And when you take a venue like Center Stage, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's a Center Stage show. It's a great fight venue. A good venue does help promote the event. If I did one at a casino, a long time ago, I heard that they were going to build some down in underground. I'm hoping they can do that. I'll be the first promoter knocking on their door to do some shows in those casinos. So,
Hey,
certain venues help
hey,
sell
look, we're gonna tag along with you now. I'm telling you right now.
yeah, I'm really hoping that happens. So I'm sure quite a few laws we have to pass for that to happen. But I feel like Atlanta's on its way to being a little bit more acceptable to those kind of venues. But I think they'll bring a lot of business, including conventions and things like that, to the city, which we're already a big convention city as it is. So, some venues will sell the show, but if you're like I said, if I do one at my gym, I have to get out there and promote. So that's one thing that a lot of promoters really don't understand. It's not up to the fighters. It's not up to the venue. You have to promote. So that's one of the things that's the hardest lesson learned for all promoters is you have to get out there and promote. Like, you got to be a salesman. So that's one of the things that you got to learn. And that's really, excuse me, I think the biggest a takeaway that maybe this promoter had was, learning those steps of just promoting the event yourself, learning how to do that. But it was a great show. Excuse me. It turned out really good fights, competitive fights, and that's what really matters. So it's a great show. Excuse me.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. Little
Brooke No Mercy said, "Hey Terri, keep up the
Oh,
great
yeah.
work."
It was great to meet her at the Hall of Fame. So she got inducted this year.
Yes.
She is on. I'm on the board of directors for the Women's International Hall of Fame, and she got inducted. It was such a great thing to see her. So she was so excited. Great family, brought her family with her. It was awesome. It was
So I wanted to ask you, Terri, so you have multiple hats. You are a trainer, promoter, manager, uh, just everything. So as a trainer, what is your specialty in terms of preparing a fighter for a fight? Now, I know like some trainers specialize in mid work, right? Some do telling them about, counter punching. Some say are specialized in footwork, head moving, et cetera, et cetera. What do you specialize as it relates to preparing a fighter for a fight?
I mean, it depends on the fight that's in front of you. So, I mean, all those things are important, pad work, counter punching, footwork, defense, you know, angles, finding ways to create openings. Those are all very important. It depends on the fighter that's in front of you. Not all fighters are the same. So, just making each fighter the best they can be for that particular fight, that's really the only thing you can do. Um, It's my specialty. I don't know. I mean, I like movement, counter punching, angles, all that kind of thing. But the main thing is just go kick their butt, and as long as you
For
do
sure.
that, that's all
With
that
that
matters.
W, we want
Yeah.
that W.
I
Yes,
watched
that's
some. I watched one of your boxing matches, and everything that you just said, I saw you do. So
well, I
yeah,
learned a lot more after I retired. So unfortunately, I had a short career. I mean,
yeah.
but the age caught up to me, and then my trainer and I, we split up. And at that point, I was like, how can it be fruitful for anybody, to continue with my boxing career? And I couldn't find a way that it would be very profitable for anyone, other than just for me to do it because I wanted to. So that's when I decided to step aside. Some fighters don't know when to walk away. I knew when I got in it was going to be short, and so that's really why I did all the different things. I just had to reinvent myself, and I'm glad I was able to do that. I'm a little bit of a crossroads again right now, so I'm trying to decide where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. It's a lot going on right now. So you have to learn to reinvent yourself, and that's one thing I love about Mike Tyson. This man reinvented himself in a big way. So I mean, you can't be a fighter all the time. You can't always be the fighter. So, deciding what I can be the best at and how I can benefit the sport, the best way possible, or the business. That's pretty much where I'm at now. So, but yeah, I wish I would have done. If I would have had more time, I could have probably put a lot more in my game. But it was what it was, and it was really fun. I accomplished a few things. So now on to the next, whichever area that takes me every time. So
Terry, you keep saying that, if you would have had enough time, you would have did this, you would have did that. Ma'am, I'm just so proud of you. Like, just meeting you today and talking to you earlier, like, I'm just proud of you, particularly at that later age in life. And, you talking about getting into a sport where it's for the young bucks. You get what I'm
right,
saying? And so the fact that you didn't listen to the naysayers and like, no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. But at the same time, you have passion. And I think like passion overrides people deficiencies, where they may lack it. But because I got the passion and the fact that you have passion for the sport of boxing, it has propelled you to be in the business sector. And then you just mentioned you on the board of directors for the Hall of Fame. So I mean, your vote is important. Your insight, they respect you. And so, man, we were just, me and Sheila and I, we just honored, and we just gonna continue to watch
yeah,
you take notes because it's a lot that you have to offer to the sport of boxing. And as a woman, I mean, it's even important that you share the game that you learned. Like you said that you learned more after you stop boxing than you did when you were boxing. And that's, sometimes that's just how things are meant to be. I think that when you stop boxing from a maturity standpoint, you was able to receive the information, whereas being an active fighter, you just, things are moving at a fast pace, so you don't have an opportunity to grasp those things.
right.
Not unless you started, early on. But I think now you very seasoned as a woman and about life. You understand about how life works. I think that's very important. And then you talked about how you manage your fighter. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the fighter who you are managing and training for an upcoming fight.
Well, I've got quite a few. So, I've got some amateurs. I'm getting ready. I'm going to try to. They've been neglected a little bit over the past 2 or 3 years because I've been so busy in the pros. But my the main pro that I've had for about 10 years now, he's out with knee surgery. So it's been almost a year since he fought, and we've got about 8 more months of waiting till he can fight again. It's just been a real hardship for us to put him on the back burner for a minute. And then I've got a new fighter that I'm soon to turn pro that I'm working with, a Venezuelan fighter. So, those guys are keeping me excited about the pros. And then, I got some great kids, and then I've got a really cool collegiate team. I couldn't, we're in school season right now. So,
Oh,
uh,
wait, hold up. You said collegiate?
yes, yes. Georgia
Oh, wow.
Tech. Yeah, I'm the head coach for the Georgia Tech boxing team. We've
They
got,
got a boxing team at Georgia
I
Tech?
just said that when
I mean,
in the
yeah,
introduction.
it just over.
yeah, we have so much fun with those guys. I mean, they are the best. So we just did a show December 3rd. So, but a week ago, in the past 10 days. I've had two shows. I said sometimes I get real busy, two shows. And then, of course, we had, one of our kids that passed away. So it was really a lot going on over the past 10 days or so. But yeah, college boxing, it's, winter season is coming up. So we'll have the nationals for those guys and a couple shows. But they're really fun. I love the college, but I love the amateurs. I love the pros. I just love the fights. I mean, no matter what, if you're a real fight fan, it doesn't matter what level. You can see some, 7-year-old, 8-year-old kids boxing, and if anybody gets in a fight, it's just the best time ever. Novices are just as fun as the pros and the big fights. It's they're all really great, and that's what I do it for. I do it all because I love the fights. So whatever's next. Next, we're looking at maybe a show January 6th. I got a couple guys fighting in New Orleans in January 27th or 26th, something like that. And see what's coming up. Haven't put a pro show back on the burner yet, so I just cleaned up a few of them and finally got my plate empty for the holidays. I'll spend some time with my family and then get back on the grind.
On the hustle, the grind and the hustle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So let me ask you, Terri, did you start boxing collegiate thing at Georgia Tech? Were you part of that?
Yeah. So me and a couple of the students, they wanted to start a club, and we went through a pretty heavy vetting process. You have to prove, a lot of things like the boxing is safe, and not going to kill all the students. And then they had to approve my venue. So Buckhead Fight Club is actually the off-site training facility for Georgia Tech, the boxing club. We had 215 students this year sign up. So, I mean, this last semester. So when we started, it was like 40 students, and we started in 2018, of course, took a break in 2020. So we've only really had like 5 or 6 semesters, and in that much time, it's gone from 40 kids to 215. We're really, I think, probably the largest team in the US IBA, but we got a lot of kids. So, but they have a lot of fun.
Say, Terri, listen, you know me, I'm just that type of person, things happen in my
Got to
mind.
get GSU to come. We do some college. We do a college boxing show at my gym in December every year, and we try to get as many students as we can. They don't have to be part of an official team to compete as college students. So last year we had Emory, Georgia State. We had a couple of different ones.
Okay, all right. So
we didn't have any this year from Georgia State. We were so sad, but we'll make sure to get them in there next year. But we would love to. There are some kids from. I think GSU was reaching out about starting a team. Oglethorpe University is trying to start a team. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'd love to have all this. We'd love to have a bunch of teams in Georgia.
So what I would like to do is I would like for you to kind of, guide us, help us to make Georgia State a big vital part of this collegiate thing that you got going on in Georgia, because actually today we just met with someone from the Andrew Young Policy School. And so basically we doing an intern. So we're going to have an intern for the Stafford Boxing Club. So we want to go through the Georgia State program because they have a great nonprofit program. Yeah. So Georgia State, as you can see, is very dear to us. My wife just graduated this past May, so she's alumni. And so I have an extensive relationship with Georgia State. And so Georgia State has been a part of my life, for a long time. And I'm just so indebted to the university. So now that you told me about Georgia State participating in the collegiate thing, and so this particular year there wasn't any students to sign up, so I want the Stafford Boxing to kind of be like the vehicle to get Georgia State, Stafford Boxing, then to what you got going on, so it can be like a pipeline, so we can make sure that this will be an ongoing thing. And that I'm seeing it in my vision that this can be real big.
Right.
Because like if you say that you started off with 40 and then it eventually went up to, so I'm thinking about sponsors. I'm thinking about, people competing for trophies, medals, etc. Like this can be a huge thing and give like these collegiate institution different outlets. So you got basketball, football, and then you add another program, boxing. So everybody liking boxing, in particular, it's becoming popular with the females. So I just think, man, this can be some whoo-hoo!
Right, right. Well, if you want to see what a show looks like, I've got one live on my well, when we just did the college fight night on December 3rd, we put it under live events on my website at buckheadfightclub.com. We had a
Okay.
marching band there, we had a live student band. I mean, it's all about the students. So we had,
Oh, cool.
we had VMI, Virginia Military Institute, and we had some kids from the University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley. So, but previous year we had Georgetown University, Maryland. I mean, we get basically the students get to box other students, and that's the best thing about it. So, and the USIBA is there are two under USA Boxing. There are two college organizations. One is the NASB, and that's most of the Army Navy guys, and those are career fighters. But the USIBA, it's a rec sports program. So these are kids that might do it for 1 or 2 semesters for a lot of beginners. So the cool thing about that is that when you do the national championships, they have a beginner division, which is two bouts or less. Then they have novice, and then they have open division. So it gives them an extra division for those beginners that stay in for maybe 1 year, or and then they're not going to become career fighters. So, and they get to have a safe boxing match on a level that they're boxing in. So again, like Georgia Tech, we're part of a rec sports program, the rec sports program at Georgia Tech. So any students, really, these are student run organizations, so just like any other student rec sports program, whether it's lacrosse or rugby or those kind of things. If a couple, I mean, Georgia Tech would love to help Georgia State start a club, but even if they don't have a club, if they don't have an official club, they can still have a team that competes, at the nationals and, at other college boxing events. They don't have to be, a certified, school sponsored team. So they can be a small club, and they don't have to be an official club to box with UC. But so that's the cool thing about it. It takes a few extra steps to become, an official club for any school, because there's a lot, they worry about boxing on campus. And personally, I went to the University of Georgia and my daughter and her husband. So they think I'm a traitor for being the Georgia Tech boxing club. But even with UGA, we would love for them to get a team. But most of the schools don't want sparring or full contact on campus, so they take it off campus just to keep that, that liability. Yeah. But as long as we follow all the USA Boxing rules and regulations, and we're a USA Boxing gym and that kind of thing, we're fully, vetted and everything. So, it doesn't take that much, but it takes a little bit of work to make an official team. But they don't even have to have that. They could be a group of GSU kids that want to box, and they can come right to any collegiate event and box other college students. It's really cool. I mean, college boxing was big, like in the 50s and, stuff like that. But it just, with basketball and baseball and football coming up so heavy, they just kind of got kind of forgotten, way later on. It used to be that most of the Ivy League schools made you take boxing. The young men, they had to take boxing as a part of their fitness program. Physical fitness, they had to take that. But it's coming back, so I'm excited about it. And I've really enjoyed doing the college. It's one of my favorite things.
Wow, go ahead, baby.
Yeah.
You had already asked one of the questions, so
Which one was that? Which one was that?
yeah, we don't have to say that, but you had already asked her, so she already answered the question that I was going to ask.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to a sponsor for us was ECA. Everyone can achieve. As you can see, their logo is there. ECA is a flagging company out of Wilmington, Delaware, and this company has sponsored our kids in our boxing club with some Stafford boxing tracksuits. So they're currently getting made, custom made. They're gonna be real nice. So we wanted to take this opportunity to honor and show some love and appreciation to our sponsor,
Thank you.
ECA. We
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Mr. Earl Cooper, Miss Kathy Cooper. We want to say thank you so much. But going back to you, Miss Terri Moss, I want to have a off the record, we're off the air conversation about getting Georgia State involved with the, I guess you would say, this intramural boxing
Right.
club, because it'll be off campus and it'll be at your site. So we have some, some contacts at Georgia State, and so we can kind of like help facilitate getting these kids, because when we come on campus and they see the Stafford boxing, they be asking a lot of questions.
I'm
But
sure.
I also believe that the boxing would definitely be a benefit to the kids. Number one is like the stress relief, right? In terms of college can be very stressful, with the classes, studying, etc. It can be an outlet. The other thing is about discipline. I
Right.
think that when these college kids come to school, discipline is not really a high priority. But when you get into the real world, discipline is very important, because if you don't be on time, you know what I mean, to your job, there can be severe consequences for that. Self-esteem. I think that boxing also help with
Yeah, very
self-esteem,
much.
and that's very important. Consider that this generation now is on social media, and a lot of times, social media can play a huge part in the individual self-esteem. So boxing can teach them to work on that, and also goal setting as well. That's very important. As you alluded to earlier about your goals in the sport of boxing. You was a professional boxer, you Hall of Famer, you sit on the board now, you're a manager, you're a trainer. So these are goals, and I think that these young kids that is in college, yes, they are book smart, but I don't really think they understand what lies ahead in the real world, because it's a real big transition. I mean, you got people who's fighting for their family. They got kids. They're thinking about retirement. They thinking about mortgage. In college, you thinking just the college life, but it's a totally different ball game. And I think a lot of college students are equipped in terms of the knowledge, and they may do an intern at a company or organization for some experience. But
Mhm.
in terms of being mentally prepared, it takes discipline, and that's when I think the sport of boxing definitely can help those children at these universities.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and it also gives them it's boxing is a small world. So it gives them, when they can go to a boxing gym and then, see, actually be there with people that might know some of the people they see on TV. That's really fun for them. They get to experience something in a really deep way, into all the aspects of the sport. And then, of course, to me, I'm always thinking about the sport of boxing. So that's what I do. And I'm like, these new fans are going to be the guys that maybe sponsor a boxing show later, or maybe, they might be the guys in the Jack Nicholson seats at the next big fight when they, once they become successful business people. It's always great to get new fans, and these are the kind of fans we want. Educated people that really love the sport of boxing. They're gonna get out there and support it financially, and watch it on TV, and it's always good for the sport. So I mean, there's a good way all the way around. We're getting good fans. We're getting people involved in something that's going to give them a really big sense of belief in themselves. I mean, boxing. If you can go through one boxing match and survive that, I tell them, you're already doing something more than 99.999% of the people on the whole planet. So it lets them know how special they are, and what an achievement it is just to do something that takes that much courage. It might make it easier to make it into grad school. You know what I'm saying? So I've heard that before. One young lady said, I never would have gone to grad school if I hadn't been through that boxing match. It taught me I could do anything, no matter how scary it was. So those kind of things are great things to teach young athletes and young people. It's good.
I have a question, and well, I would like for you to say something. I've heard women talk, I've talked to a few women. Now, with everything that you've gone through, starting with the being a professional boxer, and now you're on the business side, would you share? And like my husband said, we know that passion can be the number one thing that will push you or anyone else to see their dream come to fruition. But there's a lot of women that are struggling with that because they have family that say, or other people that say, you know what, that's not going to work. You can't do it. And then their esteem is like, you know what, they're torn.
Right.
So with everything that you've experienced and what you've been through, can you just shed some light and give other women some inspiration to just do what needs to be done.
Right, right. Sometimes it's hard to be fearless, but you know, I definitely am fearless. So you just sometimes it's just a matter of getting out there and taking that first step, whether it's boxing or whatever you may want to do. Just push yourself through. Just push through. I learned a long time ago that if there's an obstacle, that you can't take no for an answer. That if there's an obstacle, figure a way around it, under it, through it, over it, whatever it takes. Just if there's absolutely no way, then make sure that you explore every idea first before you walk away. So, just get in there and keep trying until you get the answer you want, really is what you got to do. So, and anybody can do that. You just got to be, just believe in yourself enough to get out there and push through to where, if it's something is an idea that's important to you, then it's important, as long as it's important to you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. Then, it just stay true to yourself, go get what you want, and, don't take no for an answer. That's what I would do. That's what I learned to do a long time ago.
So, Miss Terri, you talked about you being a parent. So what are some of the challenges that you faced as a parent that boxing was able to help you to be a better parent?
Well, again, I was a little older, so by the time I actually got into my first pro boxing match, my daughter was already in college. I didn't have that problem. What I'm saying? I couldn't imagine, having to be that committed. I mean, being a fighter is a lot, is a lot if you're going to be a prize fighter. I mean, if you're doing amateur boxing, it's still a big commitment, but in the pros and trying to do something, it's a lot. So those ladies that have little kids, it's definitely it's a lot to push through. But for men too. I mean, but men can easily, much more easily than women, you know, uh, take time out to go to camp and things like that. But it's kind of like women in the military. It takes a whole lot to do that, and to be able to put that in front of your family sometimes. So, I mean, you just have to find that perfect balance. But fortunately for me, I didn't really. Well, I did. My daughter was in college, but I did move away to do boxing, and which is really crazy because just recently I've just moved back home to be near my family. And as my daughter said, wow, we haven't lived together since she was 18 and she's about to be 40. So actually, she just turned 40. So, I mean, if you're, it's been a long time. I've been on this boxing for a minute. So, like I said, I'm at a little crossroads trying to decide what I want to do now, what's next. I'm still going to do boxing, but I'm trying to figure out, do I want to open a second gym? Do I want to just do more promoting, or do I want to just stick with training? I'm trying to figure out what I want to do the most of, and still, you got to be able to balance that family. But my opinion is family is always first. So don't ever put anything in front of your family, and if find a balance for sure. So so that you can do both, and still keep what's important in life, and it's really going to be your family, the most important thing. But you shouldn't have to give up a career for your family. Everything should be in a balance. And I would encourage women to be fighters and to be trainers and to be all those things they want to be. Family it's just like any other job. You can get your kids in the family business. So though my grandkids, I have a gymnast. My granddaughter's a gymnast. I don't think she'd ever want to get punched in the face, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to break my legs either. So I don't know how she does it. So it's, I mean, all sports are tough, and anybody that goes all the way in anything, it just takes a real commitment. So, there's a balance. There's a balance, but don't give up your dreams. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both. Really can.
Well, Terri, we are about to get up out of here, and we wanted to give you the last word on.
Pass me my gloves, please. I'm not gonna put them
Oh,
on.
this.
I'm just gonna show them, put in my gloves.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah. I forgot about that. We should.
I can't wait to put them on.
Yeah. So
Wow.
these are our own specialized. These are 16 ounces. Yeah, these are 16 ounces. Stafford boxing, the making a champion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So all leather. But Miss Terri, we're
Boom.
gonna give you the opportunity to end the show.
Yeah.
And we want you to say what's on your heart,
Mhm.
what you would like to leave with our viewers to help them, be it boxing or in life, that will be a gold nugget.
Right. I mean, go get them. Go out there and do your thing, and come see some shows. That's what I would say. Come see Black Hat Fight Club. If you're a student, start a boxing program at your school. Boxing is good for it's good for your mind. It's good for your soul, and it's a really fun thing. So that's what I would say. Get out there and do it. And maybe you guys also come cover the next show. Love to have you there. I'll be
For
sure to let
sure.
you know.
For sure. For sure.
Love to
Well,
do that.
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. She said, just get out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to say Nike, but we're going to say Terri Moss. She said, just get out there and do it.
Terri Moss, the boss.
Terri Moss, the boss. That's no cappuccino.
No cappuccino.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, we appreciate your time. And once again, Stafford Boxing,
The making of champions.
thank you.
Thank you for having me.